on both pieces, on Elliott and on Central. The Fallon Building, I can't remember where the sidewalk starts and stops down there.
Well, it
think
goes
it
all the way
stops
up
at
to the,
Brook
Hill.
the parking lot goes in
No, I
like
know
in a
it does, but
triangle, yeah.
I know that parking lot, I mean the new sidewalk. I think the new sidewalk ended at Brook Hill.
It
I don't
does.
think it
I think you're
continued
right.
up.
You're right.
Yeah. I know you,
But
I hear you, and we'll see what we can do to
the
get
point
it
is,
continued.
the point is that the Fallon Building was also part of the PUD. It was in the zoning.
Right. They were supposed to, there were three sites in that.
Right.
Fallon,
36,
Henry's, and
right.
the old lot. Now, it won't be a PUD, but it will be a commercial building.
Mhm.
Their biggest challenge is going to be how to address their parking and not affect the neighbors.
Mhm. Okay. How much more construction do they have to do at 36 Central? Are they almost over?
Theirs is, once they do the sewer work this week, they'll do the landscape next week. They should take those boards in front down during the landscape phase. Once they get the sewer line from Central into the building, they can start working on the sidewalk and get those boards down
Mhm.
and out.
But all the electrical and plumbing and all that stuff in the building is done?
That's in and done.
Okay.
The model units are up and going. The gas is on. The plumbing isn't turned on because there's no drain.
Okay.
As soon as they get that sewer line in, they'll run the water, but not until.
Okay.
Those were big numbers to pay, and I know that was one of their issues. They had to pay that water and sewer connection fee.
It's always the problem.
It's what?
It's always the problem.
It is, it's huge.
You ready for the vote
Yeah.
on Brook Hill
Yeah,
Road? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next has to do with Central Avenue.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to amend Article 5, Section 7, time limited and designated spaces, so as to include the following: designate 1 hour parking 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., except Sundays and holidays, on both sides of Central Avenue from Griggs Lane to School Street. Designate 2 hour parking 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., except Sundays and holidays, on both sides from Central Avenue from Griggs Lane to Valley Road.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, just a quick discussion. I suspect the reason for this is because of the T down there and just limiting all-day parking.
Yes, it is.
Right now, there are a bunch of half-hour parking spaces on the right-hand side beyond School Street. Would those be converted to 1 hour parking, or would those stay half-hour parking under this?
I should think that they would be 1 hour parking. I'm sure they're there for the same purpose.
Yep.
But that's a case of, we need to go back and look at all of our parking signs, because we've got a mishmash and they don't make a lot of sense.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The last one has to do with Randolph Avenue.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to amend Article 5, Section 1, general prohibitions, so as to include the following: designate no parking on the westerly side of Randolph Avenue from Canton Avenue to School Street.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, there were 2 other items that were on the Traffic Commission agenda. I think that the board needs to decide whether you want to vote or defer, and one was on Edge Hill Road at the intersection of Governors, to close up that intersection, that opening to just emergency vehicles. I think my understanding is that the Traffic Commission is setting up more meetings with the neighborhoods down there before a final decision, so that item would be deferred. And the other one that be deferred would be that on Pleasant Street, there was talk about, I believe, a sidewalk on the easterly side, where there isn't one there, and I think that that also needs some further review before coming back to the board for action.
Okay. It's
Can I
fine
give
with
you information now? On that number 7 on Governor's Road, that public meeting with the neighbors from Plymouth Ave and Grafton and the side streets there is scheduled for June 1st at 6:30 at the police station.
And Bill, what other residents did you say would be coming to the June 1 meeting? Did you say Grafton or
Grafton and Plymouth,
Grafton?
and then the side streets off of those two.
State.
State?
State, Martin Terrace.
What about
Alden.
Huntington?
Alden,
What about
yeah.
Huntington, Plymouth?
No, Huntington's not off of Plymouth.
No, but those streets up in that neighborhood.
They've been going to, they can go, they've been going to the Governor's Road meetings. If you put in the, if you put the rocks, some type of barrier, whatever, it's going to force all the traffic down into the square. Right now it backs up, and there was talk about making the U-turn come back, go down Edge Hills, go around the gas station and come back up. One of the reasons for putting it on now was so that there was a month at the end of school to see how this thing worked, and they didn't want to do it come September. They weren't going to take and screw up the school buses. They're going to try it for a month here. The big piece is Governor's Road. The Governor's Road issue shouldn't be that bad this summer when you look at, there's going to be a water line in there, and because of the water line, there'll be virtually no traffic on Governor's Road anyways. There'll be big holes you're not going to get through.
Yeah, but in terms of the timeline of doing the improvements on Governor's, the last I heard from John Thompson was he was thinking of putting it near the end of the scheduled work. I'm not, so kind of led me to believe that it,
He's going to tell you before he's going to tell me, so if
I was
if
talking
that's
to
the
him,
case-
he started talking to me, the water mains on Governor's Road are old,
Right,
so they were busting left and right
right.
for the past few years. So the schedule should be done, but I had a conversation with him probably a month or so ago, and I got the impression that he wanted to make recommendations on trying to reduce the traffic on Governor's, and then after trying to reduce the traffic, he was gonna,
Yes, that's what I said.
oh, okay. So that's-
If you live on Garden, Huntington, those streets up there, beyond Governor's Road, currently, you have the option, when you come out of your street, to take a right and head for the square and take a left on Governor's Road to go down Governor's Road to get to, Squantum Street, to get onto the highway. If we were to block off Governor's Road at the median strip and allow it for only emergency vehicles, that would be an option that the people from Garden Street and Huntington Road would lose. So why wouldn't they be included in this meeting with the Grafton Ave people?
I don't have an answer for you. I'm not precluding anybody from the meeting,
Mhm.
but I'll,
Have they been invited? Because it just says Grafton.
I know that it was Plymouth and Grafton were the two that were, they were the ones who were most, we knew that they would be most affected by this. Supposedly, the people from Governor's have been speaking to the others. There is a turn at the end of Garden that you can go left. So
Yes,
you could
okay.
You could go straight.
Okay, yeah, there is one other break in the median. It must be at
I
Garden.
think Huntington, doesn't Huntington go through too?
Does it
No,
really?
it's only
A
one
reservation
break.
of Huntington, I
Hunting-
think
It's either Huntington or Garden.
What's interesting about Warner Road at Garden and then to Huntington is that you cannot get from Huntington Road, you can't go down Warner to
Right.
get onto Garden. The reason for that, I was I was there when that was taken care of. I was a little kid. The fellow that lived at 81 Garden Street, he took care of the cut-through traffic. He put a steel pole with cement
Valley.
right in the center
That's
between,
right.
between the two garages, and it's been there for years, and it's very effective.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
you
could
know,
tell you his
now that I
name,
think
but
about
I'm
it, you're
not
right, there
gonna-
probably are breaks in the
There
median
is
strip.
another break.
He's not
It's-
allowed now.
It's Governor's going down, but everything from Governor's up, those are still open.
Okay.
They're not shutting those off. The issue is you come out of Quincy, it's a straight shot.
Mm-hmm.
The other issue is if you are using your GPS and the GPS is telling you how to get around traffic, it's telling you that
To use
if you
that,
can't
yeah.
go on Granite Ave and you can't stay on the expressway, the best way is Governor's Road. So it comes up as a gold line, that's the one you want to go. That's your secondary fastest way. If you can't use the expressway, you can't use Granite Ave, use Governor's Road. It's a straight shot through.
In the morning, Governor's got 2,000-plus cars going northbound.
They put in, the Traffic Commission voted, and then this board said, okay, to put in stop signs. They put in the stop signs, and when they took the stop signs, when the stop signs were in there, the speeds increased. Because you get stopped, you have to make up that time.
I'll only give you the benefit of some experience that I had down there, okay? There are an awful lot of people now that are coming up that weren't coming up 30 years ago from towns like Easton and you know, down that way. And in 1991, the rocks were still up, blocking Governor's Road. Okay, I was on the board. And we blocked off, we said, do not enter on those left-hand streets. I think it's Reservation, Waldeck, probably Otis. I don't know. We blocked people from taking a left off of Edge Hill to go down there because we have an awful lot of people that come down Randolph Avenue. And you might not think that that affects it, but what happened was, and Kevin, you were chief, so you remember this vividly, we got into a situation where Edge Hill Road, aside from the Collycott-Cunningham traffic, Edge Hill Road was a parking lot because they could not take lefts.
Right.
And the rocks blocked Governor's Road. So they were forced down into the square. The traffic that was on Randolph Avenue that was heading, it forced a lot of traffic down towards the Academy. And Randolph Avenue from the Academy all the way back to almost Wollaston Golf Course was just backed up.
Yes.
It created bottlenecks that, you know, we didn't foresee when we did it. We thought we were doing the right thing, but it was a lesson, I think, that, you know, you think you're doing the right thing on one, you know, it's like a
Unintended
water
results.
balloon. You squeeze one end and the other end
Pops out somewhere
pops
else.
out, you know, and you just, I think you have to be very cautious with this kind of thing and really think it through.
But that's why they were only choosing one, closing Governor's, not closing Garden and Huntington.
But they weren't closed before and there was a problem. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And there's enough people on that back sheet that live on the street that were complaining and, you know, asking for it, and that's people on both sides of the rocks, you know, complaining about the speed. We've seen the speed because we put down the traffic counter tubes, so we know what the traffic, we know what the numbers are, we know what the speed is.
I mean, I'm
The
willing
speed's
to go. I'm willing to go along with it if you know if it's the
As
feeling
long
of
as a
the
public process
it's
to
the
it.
feeling of the board. I'm just saying that this is something that we have to watch really closely because I think they.
And that's why we said we would like to do it sooner, not later, now, before we cut the hole in here, before September rolls around, and we have enough issues with school buses in September and the start of people getting to school. We didn't want to start then. We wanted to start it now while everybody knows I'd only have to do this for a month, and if it works out, terrific. If it doesn't, we go back to the old way. But we knew that, and that's why we had hoped to do it a month at the end of May into June.
I think one result you're going to get out of it, though, is people come from Quincy in the afternoon up, rather than using Governor's Road, which is not a good road to use anyways because it's bumpy and everything else. The other road, I forget what the road is just before that as you come up that.
Plymouth?
That's Plymouth, yeah, which you can't get across at. But if you can't get across the other one, Plymouth's a much nicer road to use. People are going to use that road. And then they're going to bang an illegal UE down at, in
Sure.
front of, that's what's going to happen.
June.
But
Well, I
That's what
give
makes those-
ourselves credit, because we're at least attempting to try to solve things. The Ward 4 counselor in Quincy, he's expressed to me his concerns for his constituents on Governor's Road in West Quincy, but I haven't heard of any proposed solutions from the Quincy ends of things. I'd like to.
No, I guess the
kinda wish
people
they were more
from,
involved.
our people from Governor's Road have been talking to the people who live in Quincy on Governor's Road, and they're not quite getting the same,
Feedback.
they're not getting the same feedback that you were just saying from their
Also,
counselor. He's got other constituents that greater numbers. That's their initial take.
thank you for spending all that time with us tonight.
Thanks,
We
Bill.
appreciate it. Next item is the senior tax work-off program.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. The director was scheduled to be here, but there was a glitch in the communication, so I'll try to fill in as best I can. I think we're in the 7th year of the senior tax write-off program. In the past, the board has authorized 25 seniors, and in order to be eligible, you have to be, there's a memo that was just handed out before the meeting, and there's one that was in your packet. You have to be over the age of 60. You have to be a resident of Milton for 5+ years. You have to be a homeowner who pays their taxes. And the income guideline is $45,000 for a single-person household and $60,000 for a two-person household. Council on Aging handles, the signing of the program. They work at the police station, they work at the town hall, they work at the Council on Aging, they work at the library. All of the department heads, to include the department heads in this building, really appreciate the seniors who in the past have entered into this program. And I think that the seniors and the Council on Aging would be looking to see if the board would be interested in extending the program for another year for another eligible 25 elderly residents.
Well, I think it's proven to be a very worthwhile program. Is there a request now for us to approve?
Yeah, if you wish, you can, so they
Do we
can
need
start
that in the
advertising.
form of a motion? or-
Yes, it would just be to see if the Board of Selectmen is willing to approve the program for an additional year with a maximum of 25 seniors.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
I mean, I think it's a great program. I think it helps the seniors out tremendously. I see no downside to it, really.
Every little bit helps with the
Yes,
tax bill.
exactly.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item is the annual reappointments.
And the only thing before reading through them, Mr. Chairman, is that, some of them will now belong to a new union, so, but we thought they're still in negotiation, so rather than wait, we thought we'd just ask the board to redo these appointments for the one-year period. It may be less, depending on when the contract is finally approved by the board and by the new union, but you have your list.
Mr. Chairman, at this point, I would make a motion to approve the following annual reappointments. Town Council John Flynn, Assistant Town Administrator Anne Marie Fagan, Keeper of the Lockup, which is the Chief of Police, Richard G. Wells, Jr., Inspector of Wires, Richard Sass, Plumbing and Gas Inspector and Sealer of Weights and Measures, Mark Kelly, Building Commissioner Joseph Prondak, Director of Public Works, Town Engineer Joseph Lynch, Assistant Director of Public Works for Operations and Local Superintendent of the Suppression of Gypsy and Brown-tailed Moths, just the gypsy and brown-tailed moths, Brian Carlisle. Director of Planning and Community Development, William Clark. Director of Milton Emergency Management Agency, Mark Williams. Veterans and Burial Agent and Director of Veteran Services and Veterans Grave Officer, Michael Cunningham. Registrar of Voters, David Lyons. And Agent for the Peabody Fund, Diane Ferrari.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
He wants to add more moths.
Yeah.
Any
One or
fur-
two.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item is the approval of the Parkway United Methodist Church Missions Walk.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve a request from the Parkway United Methodist Church to use the town streets and ways for the Missions Walk that will be held on Sunday, June 5th, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., contingent upon approval by the police chief.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Next item is the approval of reserve fund transfer request.
This is for your law bills. I think the total is, and you have an attachment there, the total amount, there's still a few months left in the fiscal year, obviously.
This goes through February.
This is about $246,663.60. The amount being asked the board to consider is $161,663.
Do we have any idea what the rest of the year looks like at this point?
We're trying to stay within the amount that I think we
It
discussed
was
at
set
town
aside
meeting,
with-
is about
okay.
$250,000.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve forwarding to the warrant committee a reserve fund transfer request in the amount of $161,663 to the Law Special Services account to cover unanticipated law bills through February 28th, 2011.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in
I
favor?
just make the point that a lot of these increases in this year's law budget are because we are being sued as opposed to us, filing suit against anyone. I mean, it's something that we really, I think you've been brought up to speed on everything. And,
Yep.
a lot of it is defending other boards, the Conservation Commission, Board of Appeals. A lot of it is, I mean, there's a legitimate difference between Quarry Hills and the town of Milton with regard to the wind turbine.
Right.
They've asserted their rights to sue us, and we're defending ourselves
Right.
vigorously. So,
Right.
That kind of thing, it just increases the budget.
And town council will be in to see us in the near future to discuss the various litigation and give us some updates.
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item is Girl Scouts Silver Award Ceremony. We had the Boy Scout, Eagle Scout Award ceremony several months ago, so,
Well, there's another one coming up, too. Did you get
Yes.
that?
no? Or we could, for
Father's
the Girl
Day.
Scouts this time, right? The Boy Scouts
There's
too?
a Boy
Yeah.
Scout, Eagle Scout thing. I think it's St.
St.
Mary's.
Mary's on
yeah.
Father's Day, yeah.
Okay, I'd make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve and sign letters of congratulations to the following girls in recognition of their receipt of the Girl Scouts Silver Award. Ursula Beatty, 57 Ruggles Lane. Elizabeth Hiss, 273 Adams Street. Grace Lee, 48 Allen Circle. Tess McBrady, 15 Cantwell Road. Devin Callahan, 16 Orono Street. And Jillian Cummings, 58 Essex Road.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item
Is there a proclamation and is there a ceremony or anything?
There is this letters of congratulations that you're going to sign, and the ceremony is actually going to be held on the gazebo on the 22nd.
Of May?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So they're
And if a
looking,
board member is available, they're certainly welcome to attend to hand out the proclamations, the
Okay.
awards.
I won't be around, so.
Okay. Next item is boards and committee reappointments.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve the reappointment of Judith Darrow Kemp and Michael Blute to the Conservation Commission to serve through May 2013.
Is
Second.
there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve the following reappointments to the Bicycle Advisory Committee to serve through May 2012. Michael Blackwell, Martin Bauer, Lee Toma, Eric Ask, Hugh Stringer, Richard Pansiera, Thomas Buchow, and Diane Sawyer.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Item 17, the approval of the 350th Anniversary Committee gift account.
Your committee's been meeting pretty regularly, and they're now looking to, town meeting approve the 5,000 seed money. They're looking to see if the board will authorize the establishment of a gift account, and when the funds come in, that they will be in the account, and there'll be a full reconciliation of the account, so you'll have, I think, monthly or whenever we start generating expenses.
I'll make a motion to authorize the town accountant to establish a special fund pursuant to provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53, said I, settlement or incorporation celebration special fund for the purpose of the town's 350th anniversary celebration, and that all expenditures recommended by the 350th anniversary committee be approved by the town administrator.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion?
Not but specifically on this, but while we're on the 350th, when I met with the Milton clergy, interfaith clergy, they had asked that they somehow be involved if they could in the 350th. So maybe if we get something to that committee, just saying that they'd like to be involved any way they could.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Next item is the approval of the SPEA contract.
This is a one-year contract, Mr. Chairman. It is a 2.5% wage adjustment, but the impact on FY12 is only 1.5%. It's 1% if the board approves it July 1, 1% in January of 2012, and 0.5% the last day of the contract, which will be June 30th, 2012.
This is in keeping with our policy of the past year of, because we don't know what the future is, to have one-year contracts and to keep them. We did receive some criticism a couple of years ago at town meeting for not sticking to the 2.5%. That's not a tried and true answer to collective bargaining, because you are bargaining in good faith. But it is something that we've kind of strived for this year, and this is totally in compliance with the guidelines that we set to the town administrator
Mm-hmm.
to settle with our unions with this year.
Do I have a motion to that effect?
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve a one-year contract between the town and the Southeastern Public Employees Association for the period of July 1st, 2011 through June 30th, 2012.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Item 19, Town Administrator's Report.
One item, Mr. Chairman, that the board had asked me to attend a press conference with the City of Boston Mayor Thomas Menino and others on the proposed update of the bottle bill, which is pending at for the legislators to work on. And basically, everybody knows that the soda cans is a 5% deposit, but on the soft drinks, and soft drinks there are the 5% deposit. On the water and some of the juice drinks, there isn't. And they're both made, and in fact, the mayor brought up 2 plastic bottles, and one was a 5% renewal, the other one was not, and they're both manufactured by the same outfit. So the legislation is to make them all equal, so that it reduces the litter, reduces the use of plastic, hopefully, so it gets recycled more. So there are, I think, 183 communities signed on to the legislation, Milton being one of the 351. So the mayor did send his regards to the selectmen for sending representation.
Okay.
That's my only report.
Thank you. In Chairman's report, I just wanted to discuss a letter that I received from Betsy Binder, and I think that there's probably either the town administrator, or I know you're aware of her concerns, you could respond to it. Betsy writes a letter of thank you for the interest that was expressed to her and Marge Jeffrey regarding her concern on behalf of the residents of Fuller Village and other residents about the dangerous intersection that bisects Brush Hill Road and the Ponset Valley Parkway in the Milton Street area. And she feels that a few stop signs would address the situation, and I was just wondering if there's those at the table that can help me respond to that or make suggestions.
Mr. Chairman, I can respond back. We have been in touch. I did speak with Betsy Buckbinder before town meeting, and I did email her after town meeting. And we are working, you know, again, the one problem we have is the Ponset Valley is a state road, and the state's been very good about, you know, assisting us, but we do got to get some final sign off on one of the minor design plans. This one is not the one about the stop signs. It's the one about taking Brush Hill Road, and if you come down Brush Hill Road where it intersects in the Ponset Valley, the proposal, and this would be on town property, would be to curve the road to the right and actually tee it in a square with the Ponset Valley Parkway in some land that the town now owns. And we have a design plan. The DPW's been working on a design plan, and all we would really need from DCR is a sign-off on what would be technically a curb cut to intersect that roadway. So we are working with them, and hopefully, you know, by the summertime, be able to do a 100% design for this project and actually have it built.
Yeah, in general, it's a tough area. I mean, it kind of scares me. You got Flatley Field down there. Is that what it's called? It's Flatley Field. You know, with all of the young kids playing soccer, and God, that's an awful intersection there. They have little kids running around. But
Especially on soccer Saturday mornings, you've got to park on Brush Hill
Right.
Road.
right.
You know, and all that right-hand side is all taken up by cars.
Yep.
It is, you know,
It's an accident waiting to happen. It's a
they have that little parking lot there on the nursing home parking on the property, but
right. Not nearly big enough.
it doesn't take it up enough, you know.
All right, so then it sounds like we're hoping to make progress within
Yes.
a couple of months.
Yes, I'll
Does-
follow back.
Does it include the stop sign suggestions?
We're going to have to work on that because they're going to have to do traffic counts, and again, that's on DCR property. So the design that I just described is one that I know the Fuller Village and particularly Betsy Buckbinder really were looking to accomplish, you know, years ago. And if we can get that much done, I think we'd be
Okay.
moving a lot further than we have in the last few years.
So where would the stop signs go now?
In the new design, there'd
Yeah.
only be one stop sign. That would be a stop sign similar to where you come into the Ponset Valley on Brush Hill Road. You have the stop on Brush Hill Road. It would just be the road would actually curve to the right and then square into just up the road a little bit to the Ponset Valley.
You know,
And the
better
stop
vision.
sign would be right there. There used to be a large tree there, and the tree's been removed. It was an aged tree.
Will we
So the
send
road would
Stevie
kind of
Conley
curve
there?
up.
So it'd be a stop at Brush Hill and then a curvature?
Yes. It would come up and curve, and then there'd be the stop. But you'd have to slow down to make the curve. So I'll send out by email a draft design.
Give Mrs. Buckbinder a lot of credit for following up with me on my statements.
She's been really, you know,
Yeah.
it's been unfortunate that it's taken so long, but she really appreciated, I think, the effort that the town has been trying to work through. And again, because it's a state road, and a lot of people don't understand that, you know, it's a whole other element of agency that you have to deal with.
I remember Betsy years ago, she was a teacher at the Tucker School, and I used to greatly admire the fact that a school system is responsible to educate all the children, and Betsy always was looking out for that segment of the school population that was gifted and talented. And because sometimes those kind of students can get bored and so on, and Betsy was a forerunner in Milton and in the state with working on behalf of gifted and talented kids.
Great lady.
Old business.
New business first.
We have one item in new
I'm sorry.
business. One item of new business is that on Monday, May 30th, you have your Memorial Day celebration, and that starts at 9:30 up here in front of the town hall. And then there's a parade or a march down to Milton Cemetery, that's at 10 o'clock. And then there's the cemetery event. And again, Frank Stout, who represents that committee does a wonderful job at Veterans Day and Memorial Day. And again, this year, looking forward to see Milton residents on the parade route at the cemetery.
That's great. Okay.
Were your selectmen gonna walk the parade?
Usually march.
Usually meet here and take part in the ceremony here, and then march down to the cemetery.
We'll send out information on that.
Okay, good.
Okay, old business and executive session.
I'll make, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of conducting collective bargaining strategy and preparation for negotiations with union personnel, believing that discussion of this topic in open session may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the body, and to return to open session only for the purpose of adjournment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Shields?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Hurley? And
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney, yes.